Yeah. So Aisha, can you tell what we were discussing about two types of divisions? What were they? Cell divisions.
Fusion and fission.
Fission and fusion, and two divisions we were talking about. One is reduction division and other is equal division. So what is the name of those divisions?
Mitosis.
Yes.
And
Mitotic and reduction is division, which we told in reproduction, that is most very important division, that is meiosis. Okay, we were talking about the meiosis division. This fission is binary fission, and how this binary fission took place and how all the materials, this thread-like materials, that is very important, that is called as the chromosomes, which is responsible for carrying out the hereditary characteristics of an organism. So that equally divides, and there are different stages of the cell division in both mitosis and meiosis. So let us go through it. And Robert Remak was the first German scientist, who has observed and published his papers on how this binary fission takes place in the animal cell. So let us see how it has taken place, and we have even discussed about it in the earlier class. What this omonis cellulate cellula means? It means all cells from the cells. And then this also we have discussed how from one cell there are so many cells that have been forming and equally dividing. And then Walter Felmings has discussed about the thread-like structures that equally divide, and which is responsible for the resemblance of the offsprings. So mitosis means fine threads as dividing structures. They resemble like threads. And Wilhelm Ross proposed that each chromosomes that carried a different sets of heritable elements, and heritable is hereditary. As I told you, the appearance, or there are genetic characteristics, there are so many things that are same. And Mendel's heritable piece on peas, he does this experiment on peas, and this is very interesting. We are going to see how Mendel has found out how can we mix, as you have seen in the hybrid characteristics and others, where we have seen we can have how does a tall parent and a short parent plant. He has used that plants to show, and his theory works very well even on the human beings and the mammalians, where we can see supposing if out of two parents, one is tall and the other is short, then we will find that out of 4 kids, if they have, there is a possibility of having one tall or 3 short, or it could be 2 tall, 2 short, or it could be all 4 tall and all 4 short. So it's a very interesting experiment which Mendel has done on the peas plant, that also we are going to learn about it shortly. So let us see how these genetic materials are divided. And Theodor Bower also did this, observed this, and he's published his papers and confirmed that these thread-like structures are only responsible for carrying the hereditary material, and they contain genetical materials. Genetic materials means, you see, we generally talk about that there are the department of genetics. So genetics department mein kya kaam ho raha hai? There, in genetics department, they talk about what all are the hereditary diseases. In a hospital, we do see that a genetics department rehta hai. So some of the people, if they have a history of their ancestors, parents, or somebody were having some diseases, wo diseases bhi hereditary mein aati rehti hai. So this genetics department is working on how well we can work right from the embryonic stage stage to make sure that, when the baby is in the womb, at that stage only, they are working to make sure कि ये diseases उनके पास spread ना हो. Now they have got a vaccine for thalassemia also. Thalassemia एक genetic disease थी. Good news is, in Indian genetics department only they have discovered and found out कि now the patients जिसको thalassemia, do anybody know what is this disease called thalassemia? किसी को मालूम है thalassemia disease के बारे में? It's an hereditary disease.
No.
Yes. Nobody knows about
No.
that disease.
No, we don't know.
See, there is a disease called thalassemia. उसमें वो patients को क्या होता है, वो एक genetic है, hereditary से आ रहा है. तो supposing, उनको कोई चीज से एक्सीडेंटली और कुछ भी उससे ब्लीड शुरू हो गया तो दैट कैन नॉट बी स्टॉप, क्लॉटिंग कैन नॉट टेक प्लेस, एंड दिस इज अ जेनेटिक वन, एंड उसका भी परसेंटेज है. बाद में तो इट बिकम्स सो फेटल कि ब्लीडिंग रुकती नहीं, कि पेशेंट कैन गो, आई मीन डाई ऑल्सो. सो दीज पेशेंट्स हैज टू बी वेरी केयरफुल इन देयर लाइफ. दे शुड अवॉइड मोस्ट ऑफ दिस एक्सीडेंट्स है या जो भी डेली लाइफ के एक्टिविटीज रहते हैं उसमें दे हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल. सो एक अगर पेरेंट में रहा तो इट इज किसी के समटाइम्स ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स वर हैविंग, parents were healthy but grandchildren got these diseases. So these are all called as the genetic diseases. So now there is a vaccine that has come, supposing because we don't know कि हमारे कोई ancestors को ये disease था. Sometimes this disease is not identified also, क्योंकि luckily उनको कभी ऐसे कोई problem नहीं आया तो पता ही नहीं चलता कि था उनके पास वो disease. लेकिन उनके कोई उनके family में किसी को हो ऐसा हो जाता, that time we come to know कि this disease has come from some history of some genetics history, कहीं से आ रहा है disease. तो now pregnant woman को वैक्सीन दे देने से ये thalassemia का पूरा eradicate, like जैसा polio has been eradicated, even that will get eradicated. So that's how the scientists work in making the life simple. Now this Watson and Crick are the two scientists who has determined कि इसमें एक structure होता है that is called DNA structure. Now everywhere we find out कि DNA से we can find out who are the, supposing किसी baby के बच्चे के, we don't know who are the parents of that boy. So and this DNA test can prove and show कि किसका बच्चा है वो. Okay, so DNA is in the forensic medicine, in many places DNA is applicable and it is used, and it is also a very interesting feature of a human body cell, so which is present in the nucleus और उसका जो ये structure है and all. So this Watson and Francis Crick has worked very hard to find out, and till date we are studying their own theories and we are working based upon their theory. And this is Watson and Crick, and in the year 1953 they determined. And cell division in human being, in mitosis, what is happening is after the fertilization of the egg into a baby for 9 months, and then that baby develops into an adult within 20 years, what all are the transformational changes that takes place, you can observe what all is happening in this. I've got, dear students, from tomorrow onwards, exact 10:10, you all have to join the class and inform your other classmates also. Because now today
Okay, ma'am.
sharp 11 will be stopping the class. So you can see how this cell division
Yes, ma'am.
is taking place here, and a fertilized baby in 9 months. How is this adult is developing into a 20 years old, how is this mitosis division is taking place? Mitosis का equal division I told you, जिसमें जहां पर growth होने का है, जहां पर भी growth हो रही है वहां पर mitosis division takes place, and it is a division of fission. जहां पर divide होते जाएंगे cells into equal numbers, equal amount of material, and that give rise to new adult. And the bone marrow cells, जो हमारे bone marrow बोल तो, do you, can anybody tell me what is that bone marrow?
I think a bone on the back side of our body.
Yes, तो बैक साइड ऑफ our body में हमारे क्या रहता है, बोन मैरो. When you are, उसको उर्दू में क्या बोलते हैं? Most of the time you people like and eat it, जो बोन के अंदर रहता है उसको क्या बोलते हैं? उर्दू में बोलो, no problem, that is only bone marrow. Yes. Nobody knows? Can you see this picture?
Mm.
Yes, Ramsha, you would like to give a try? See here, this one. Yes. You can even post it in the chat box if I'm not able to hear you clearly.
इसका नाम उर्दू में बोलना मैम, बोन मैरो का.
Yes.
नहीं मालूम मैम.
कभी भी हड्डी खा रहे ना, नहारी खाते?
नारी
हड्डी
वो
के
बोटी.
अंदर, हाँ नहीं, हड्डी के अंदर से भी कुछ निकाल के खाते?
वो पेरेंट्स खाते.
हाँ, वो इसको क्या बोलते? What do you call it?
मसाला.
Ashas must be knowing. Anything wrong happens into the bone marrow of a body, people like leukemia. Leukemia is sort of blood cancer, we call it. So these all are because if these cells are not functioning properly, something goes wrong into the cells of the bone marrow, then people suffer with so many other diseases. So these lymphocytes, they are responsible for maintaining balance of all these basophils, monocytes, eosinophils, neutrophils. When a doctor does a blood test, if there is any changes into it, the doctor will be able to know what's going wrong into the patient, and on the basis of the diagnosis, the treatment is done. So this is very important. So mitosis helps, as I told you, our cell keeps on, our skin keeps on dividing into different cells, and that is also one of these worn out cells in the skin is because of this mitotic division, not meiosis. Meiosis is a reduction division, whereas mitosis takes place in the growth and development of a cell. So here you can clearly see when a male germ cell and a female lines up together, then when they have to fuse together to form a zygote, then meiosis, reduction division. यहाँ पर only sex cells are the only cells जहाँ पर meiosis होता है. Otherwise, after fertilization, offspring, जब तक baby बड़ा होता है, you will have only mitotic division, the division that leads to the growth and the development. Now, if you can see in the mitotic division, अगर कभी आप गिर गए, you must have seen that कोई जख्म हो जा रहा है. Most of the time, children, they fall down and they'll have such type of wounds on their knees. आपको knees और elbows पे ऐसे wounds आ जाते हैं. So how does this healing takes place? There is a beautiful natural mechanism inside our body that helps in healing these type of wounds. So let us see how this mechanism takes place into it. And we generally say that it is it's a real fact. Most of the scientists are working on it. अभी जैसे हमको बोलते हैं, why should we be speaking good about every time? हमको अच्छा क्यों बोलना चाहिए, अच्छा सोचना चाहिए, ऑनेस्ट रहना चाहिए, सही बोलना चाहिए। ये सब किस लिए है? अगर हम जो बोलते हैं हमारे सेल्स हमको इमिटेट करते हैं, हमारी बॉडी के सेल्स की जो फंक्शनिंग रहती है, अगर इफ वी आर चीटिंग समबडी, हमारे सेल्स भी हमको चीट करना शुरू कर देते हैं। तो हु विल गेट हार्म बाय इट? वी आवर सेल्स। और जैसे हमारा सेल्स का नॉर्मल फंक्शन नहीं होता है, वो अबनॉर्मेलिटी में सेल फंक्शन चले जाता है, तो दैट लीड्स टू अ डिसीज कॉल्ड कैंसर. So here you can see that cancer cells do not respond to such growth regulating factors and continual division at the expense of normal cells, thus ultimately killing the host. तो कैंसर सेल्स क्या करते हैं? उनको नॉर्मली जितने सेल्स प्रोड्यूस करके उस वुंड को हील करने के लिए उसकी जरूरत रहती, उससे ज्यादा दे कीप ऑन मल्टीप्लाइंग, उतने ज्यादा मल्टीप्लाई करना भी नहीं हो। कोई भी चीज लिमिट से ज्यादा या लिमिट से कम नहीं होना चाहिए. Otherwise it is called as an abnormality. So if those cells are more than required, then it leads to some other ailments, and ultimately it will kill the host. जिसके अंदर ये cells survive कर रहे हैं उसी को they'll kill. So this is again getting repeated. So you have understood this, how this mitotic and meiotic division takes place. So let us see how this process of cell division and the mitosis takes place. And it is every time a cell divides, this mitotic division हमारी body में चलता ही रहता है continuously, 24/7 ये division होते रहता है. और एक cell को division complete होने के लिए it takes 40 to 60 minutes, almost 1 घंटा पर आवर. यू नो, एक एक सेल, एवरी सेल, पूरा ये डिवीजन, हर घंटे में हमारे सेल्स, पुराने वॉर्न आउट सेल्स निकलते रहेंगे बॉडी से आउट, एंड न्यू सेल्स आर फॉर्म. सो दिस इज अ कंटिन्यूअस डिविजन. सो हाउ डज दिस माइटोटिक डिविजन टेक्स प्लेस? We are going to study about it in the next class, because you have to concentrate, and I want all the students to come. Any of this video will be, this is a synchronous class jahan par you know, few of you are able to attend the class and am able to address, and in asynchronous class this same video the other students can also see. Please inform all your classmates to go through this video and come back for tomorrow's class. Okay, so see you all. I've got another